from 1st June 1960, when I was transferred to the budget division of the Ministry of Finance as Stenographer Secretary. I reported at the ministry at 7:30 a.m. where I met the secretary to the then permanent secretary, Mr. H. Milakri, who asked me to wait for Mr. Phillips. At 8 a.m., Mr. Phillips arrived and the secretary took me to him. After a short interview, when he realized that I'm a fancy, all our conversations then changed into fancy, except on occasions where there was a visitor who did not speak fancy. From the Budget Secretariat, he was appointed the Executive Secretary of the State Control Commission and posted to the Flagstaff House. He was again appointed Executive Secretary of State Enterprises Secretariat, also at the Flagstaff House, to be in charge of about 54 state enterprises. He did not leave me behind on all these errands. He retired from the civil service in August 1965. After the 1966 coup, he was appointed Commissioner for Lands and Mineral Resources. That time, I was still with the State Enterprises Secretariat. He asked permission from Mr. R.S. Amagashi, who was the Sector Commissioner for State Enterprises Secretariat, to release me to assist him set up his new office. He and Mr. Amagashi were like twins, and therefore he could not refuse his request. I was released to join him in the Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources, then to the Ministry of Industries, and finally the Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare, when the military regime handed over to Dr. K. Ibusia in 1969. He acted as Commissioner for Finance in the absence of the substantive commissioner during the period of the military regime. After the handing over, he joined Balco as Deputy Resident Manager, and I went back to the State Enterprises Secretariat. I appealed to him to take me to Balco, but he advised me to stay in the civil service to qualify for pension. In 1979, the Lord's appointed time, he came to my office to inform me that there was a vacancy in his office for a secretary, and asked whether I was interested. If not, I should find him a good secretary. I said I was interested, so I was invited to the Balco office in Tema for a test, after which I was asked to assume duty as confidential secretary at the Accra office of Balco on 2nd January 1980. He retired from Balco as the chairman of the company in 1996. I also retired from Balco in 1998. From there, I worked briefly with the Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA. In the year 2001, Mr. Phillips invited me to assist in the running of the Secretariat of the District Grand Lodge of Ghana, where he was the past District Grand Master. And I have been with that Secretariat from October 2001 up to today. For the 52 years that I have known Mr. Phillips, I found him to be very hard-working, honest, kind, humble, and very respectful to both young and old. I remember when he was finally leaving office, he and Mrs. Phillips invited me and Mr. Ose, his driver, to lunch at a restaurant at Osu Ari, after which he gave both of us envelopes. The contents were known to only the two of us. When I was also leaving office finally, he asked me to invite 20 friends of mine to attend a send-off party on my behalf at his residence. That was the occasion when some of my friends got to know that he was not a white man. Mr. Phillips is a man whose generosity is not limited to me as his secretary, but extended to my family and other members of his staff. I'm sure he does the same to other friends at the appropriate time. There is a saying that behind every successful man is a woman, and this woman behind his success is Mrs. Phillips, who has taken very good care of his efforts all these years. It is our prayer that both of them live for another decade, so that we meet here again to celebrate his centenary. May May the good Lord bless us all. Thank you.
Things to remember at 90. I remember that in the year 1968, my senior brother Jimmy was the minister in charge of industries, and I was president of the ATM. The government of the NFC appointed a group of public officers and businessmen to go on an economic mission to Brazil and Argentina. For the first time, the ATI president was invited to join the group. In Brazil, we visited a number of factories and institutions. One such visit was in the Rio province. We traveled the whole day and were returning to Rio by road when the car that Jimmy was using had a flat tire. We stopped to fix the problem and soon realized that none of the vehicles in the group had a jack to lift the car. So we had to use manpower to do the job. Jimmy showed his physical strength then. Back in our hotel, we had been invited to dinner with a prominent senator and his group. We were tired, but we had to honor the invitation. Well, the atmosphere was good, and the food was simple but tasty. It was plain rice, pink sauce, and 3 shrimps. Our host made a speech followed by many others, some very long and boring. I inquired from Jimmy when we were going to leave. Jimmy told me that he had to respond as demanded by protocol. The speeches kept going. So at one point I said Infanti to Jimmy. This one I would say Infanti. Yapa here over here, such way pass and we oh, the must be ja. So because of these 3 shrimps and rice, I should respond. Just as the speeches were ended, the security police arrived to escort us to our hotel. As there was a student riot in town, I said in fact, because of 3 shrimps, you are going to let us all kill. After the NLC days, Jimmy joined Bamboo, rising to the number 2 position there. In that position, he was elected president of Ghana Employers Association. At the time he took over, the affairs of the GA were in a mess. Its image has sunk so low, with its finances totally mismanaged. This resulted in some dismissals and contractions. Jimmy used his tremendous experience in labor matters and his management skills to repair the damage and return the association to a good state of health and the respect it enjoys today. They say all work and no play makes Jimmy a dull boy. Jimmy took the playing work to ease the stress in the executive work. He became captain several times and has always worked to do things right. He was also elected president of the Aquaah Golf Club as well as president of the Ghana Golf Association. As a golfer, he attained a handicap of 5, very respectable. He sometimes joined me with his family and other friends to relax at Kwamena Beach. I had a chalet there called At 3 Coconut Trees. Our 2 families have been friends for many years and have enjoyed each other's company both at work and at play. I extend my sincere good wishes to Jimmy, my senior brother, to reach 100 when I've also reached 90. And wish him many more years and health and happiness. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aquaah-Harrison. The next speaker is our dear Anne Adjorlolo, Dr. Anne Adjorlolo, to say something on behalf of the children of Anne.
Not yet.
Thank you for joining us.
Wait and stood behind the pole.
Alan, myself, Brenda, and Catherine, and our spouses think this is a marvelous day. Happy 90th birthday, Dad. All four of us are now mature adults, contributing each in his or her own way to the life of our different communities. We are parents, aunts, uncles. We are in touch, some of us better than others, with family and friends. We are fortunate to have fulfilling jobs in different fields, and it hasn't been by chance. As children, we learned quickly that Dad had standards of behavior that he expected us to uphold. We were in awe of him. School was important, as was appropriate behavior. Sometimes it got a little difficult. He might say, for example, DJ, Kathy, get the thing from the plate. The best thing to do then was to scatter, because time was of the essence, a favorite phrase of Dad's, even though we didn't know what we were to get and where it might be. As older children and young adults, we were more relaxed and Dad mellowed. We appreciated then, as we do to this day, his recounting of events that happened to or around him. Some were hilarious, and you have heard some examples. We have fond memories of days at the beach, remember Hut's 3 coconut trees, and sunny days in the garden with the sun beating down on bare backs. Lots of vitamin D there. Through such recounting and other instances, we got examples of attitudes that serve us well now in the working world. Throughout our lives, we've seen how important family has been. Early on, Dad would take us to Cape Coast, for example, to visit our grandmothers. We got to know our cousins and aunts and uncles. We have a wonderful extended family. We have seen how Dad has made and kept lifelong friends, many of whom are here today. So Dad, a big happy birthday from your children and their families.
Thank you very much.